What if the next 8 minutes you choose to ignore becomes the moment you regret for the rest of your life? Think about that. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Because somewhere right now, someone you care about is silently struggling. They're smiling in public, replying, "I'm fine," pretending everything is okay, but deep down, they're not okay. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't need money, advice, or solutions in their darkest moments. They need something far simpler and far more rare. They need someone who is willing to give them just 8 uninterrupted minutes. Now that sounds small, almost insignificant. 8 minutes? You probably spend more time scrolling your phone without even realizing it. But those same 8 minutes, when given with intention, with presence, with genuine care, can change someone's life. It can pull someone back from the edge. It can remind them they're not alone. It can be the difference between silence and survival. Here's the problem. We live in a world where everyone is busy. Busy checking notifications, busy chasing success, busy trying to fix everything quickly. And because of that, we've lost the ability to simply sit with someone. No distractions, no rushing, no trying to solve them like a problem. But people are not problems to be solved. They are human beings to be understood. And that's where this 8-minute habit becomes powerful. Because it's not about saying the perfect words. It's not about giving the best advice. It's not about being a therapist or a hero. It's about showing up fully, completely, without judgment. Imagine this. Someone you care about opens up to you, not fully, not clearly, just a small crack, a hint that something is wrong. Most people miss it. They change the topic. They give a quick, "You'll be fine." They move on. But you don't. You pause, you lean in, you give them your full attention for just 8 minutes. No phone, no interruptions, no rushing to respond. And in those 8 minutes, something shifts. Because for the first time in a long time, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel like they matter. And that feeling is powerful beyond words. Most people think helping someone means having the right answers. They wait until they feel smart enough, experienced enough, ready enough to say something meaningful. But that mindset is exactly why so many people end up facing their hardest moments alone. Because while you're waiting to have the perfect words, they're waiting for someone who simply cares enough to stay. Let me tell you something that might change the way you see every conversation from today forward. People don't open up when you impress them. They open up when they feel safe. And safety is not created through advice. It's created through presence. Think about the last time you were going through something difficult. Not a small inconvenience, but something heavy. Something you couldn't easily explain. Did you need someone to lecture you? Did you need a list of solutions? Or did you just need someone to sit with you and truly listen? That's the power of these 8 minutes. Because in a world that constantly interrupts, rushes, and distracts, giving someone your full attention is rare, and rarity creates value. When you choose to be fully present, you send a message without even speaking. You matter. This moment matters. I'm here. And something incredible happens in that space. People begin to unfold. At first it's slow. A few words. Maybe hesitation. Maybe they test you, wondering if you'll interrupt, judge, or try to fix them. Most people fail this test without even realizing it. They jump in too quickly. They redirect the conversation back to themselves. They try to control the outcome. But you don't. You stay quiet just long enough. You let them finish. You listen not to reply, but to understand. And suddenly, the conversation deepens. Because now they feel it. They feel your patience, your attention, your respect. And that's when they begin to say the things they've been holding in for days, weeks, sometimes even years. This is where the real impact begins. Not in what you say, but in what you allow. You allow silence without discomfort. You allow emotions without rushing to fix them. You allow someone to be human without trying to change them. And here's the truth most people never realize. When someone feels truly heard, they often find their own answers. They don't need you to solve their life. They need you to create the space where they can start making sense of it themselves. That's what those 8 minutes do. They create space in a world that constantly takes it away. But here's where it gets even deeper. Because giving someone 8 minutes is not as easy as it sounds. Not because of time, but because of discipline. You see, the moment someone starts sharing something emotional, your mind automatically wants to jump in. You start thinking about what to say next. You search for advice. You compare their story to your own experiences. You feel the urge to fix it, to guide it, to control it. And without realizing it, you stop listening. This is the silent mistake almost everyone makes. They are physically there, but mentally somewhere else. And people can feel that. They can sense when your attention is divided, when you're half listening, when you're just waiting for your turn to speak. And the moment they feel that, they start to close again. They pull back. They protect themselves. That's why the real power of this habit is not in the time, it's in the quality of your presence. Because true presence requires something most people avoid. It requires you to slow down. It requires you to let go of your need to be right, your need to be helpful, your need to be impressive, and instead just be there, fully, completely, no distractions, no hidden agenda. Imagine sitting across from someone and for 8 minutes, your only goal is to understand them, not to respond, not to judge, not to fix, just to understand. You notice their tone, their pauses, the way their voice changes when they talk about something painful. You pay attention to what they're saying and also what they're not saying. Because sometimes the most important words are the ones left unspoken. And when you listen at that level, something powerful happens inside them. They begin to feel safe enough to be honest, not the surface level. I'm stressed, kind of honest, but the real kind. The kind that says, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. The kind that admits fear, doubt, confusion. And in that moment, you are no longer just having a conversation. You are holding space for someone's truth. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's exactly why these 8 minutes can have such a deep impact. Because most people go through life without ever feeling truly heard. But when you give that to someone even once, it stays with them. It changes how they see themselves. It reminds them they are not invisible. And sometimes that's all they need to keep going. Now here's something most people never talk about. The moment you decide to truly be there for someone, you also step into discomfort. Because real conversations are not always clean, controlled, or easy. Sometimes there are long pauses. Awkward silence, moments where you don't know what to say. Moments where their pain feels heavy and you feel it too. And this is where most people break. They rush to fill the silence. They throw in quick advice. They change the subject. Not because they don't care, but because they feel uncomfortable. But discomfort is not the enemy here. Discomfort is the doorway. Because on the other side of that silence is trust. Think about it. When someone shares something vulnerable and you immediately interrupt or try to fix it, what message are you sending? You're saying, this is too much. Let's move past it. But when you stay, when you hold that silence without running from it, you're saying something far more powerful. You're saying, I can handle this. You can be real with me. And that changes everything. Because now, they don't feel like a burden. They don't feel like they need to filter their emotions or package their pain into something easier for you to hear. They can just be honest. And honesty is where healing begins. This is why those 8 minutes are not about constant talking. In fact, some of the most powerful moments happen when nothing is said at all. You sit there, present, calm, open. And in that silence, they gather the courage to go deeper, to say the thing they were afraid to say, to admit what's really going on beneath the surface. And when they do, your role is not to jump in and take control. Your role is to hold the space steady, to show them through your presence that they are not alone in this moment, that they don't have to rush through it, that they don't have to hide. Because here's the truth. Most people don't need someone to pull them out of the darkness instantly. They need someone willing to sit with them in it without fear. And when you can do that, even for just 8 minutes, you create something incredibly rare. A space where someone feels safe enough to face what they've been avoiding. And that is where real change begins. But here's the part that changes everything the moment you stop trying to fix someone. You actually start helping them. It sounds backward, doesn't it? Because we've been taught that helping means solving. That being useful means giving answers. That if someone comes to you with a problem, your job is to make it go away as quickly as possible. But that approach often does more harm than good. Because when you rush to fix someone, you unintentionally send a message. You can't handle this on your own. And that message, even if it's subtle, weakens them. It takes away their sense of control, their ability to think, their confidence to navigate their own emotions. But when you choose a different approach, when you listen, when you stay present, when you resist the urge to jump in, you send a completely different message. You say, I trust you. I believe you can work through this. And that belief is powerful because it gives them permission to think out loud, to process, to explore their own thoughts without interruption. And something incredible happens when people are given that kind of space. They begin to hear themselves. They start connecting dots. They begin to realize things they hadn't seen before. Not because you told them, because they discovered it on their own. And self-discovery is far more powerful than borrowed advice. Think about it. Advice can be forgotten, ignored, rejected. But when someone arrives at their own conclusion, it sticks. It becomes part of them. This is why the 8-minute habit works so effectively. Because it shifts the focus from control to connection, from talking to understanding, from fixing to empowering. And when someone feels empowered, they don't just feel better in the moment, they become stronger for the future. They learn that they can face difficult emotions, that they can sit with uncertainty, that they can move through challenges without collapsing. And all of that begins with something incredibly simple, you choosing to stay quiet just a little longer, to listen just a little deeper, to care without trying to control. Because in those 8 minutes, you are not just helping them survive a moment. You are helping them build the strength to handle many more. And that kind of impact lasts far beyond the conversation itself. Now let's go even deeper, because there's a moment in every conversation where everything can change. It's subtle, easy to miss. But if you recognize it and handle it the right way, those 8 minutes become life-changing. It's the moment when they hesitate, when they start a sentence and then stop. When they say something like, it's nothing, or I don't want to bother you with this, that right there is the turning point. Most people let it go. They respect the surface. They back off. They say, okay, no problem, and move on. It feels polite. It feels safe. But what they don't realize is this. Behind that hesitation is usually the real truth. And in that moment, the person is silently asking a question they may never say out loud. Do you really care enough to stay? This is where your presence is tested. Because if you move on, they close the door. But if you gently lean in, without pressure, without force, just a simple, calm, genuine response, everything can shift. Not pushing, not demanding. Just something like, you can tell me, and then you wait. This is where patience becomes power. Because now, they're deciding whether to trust you with something real. Something deeper than the surface level conversation. Something they've probably been carrying alone. And if you stay steady, if you don't rush, if you don't fill the silence with unnecessary words, they begin to open that door, slowly, carefully, but honestly. And when they do, what comes out is rarely neat or perfectly explained. It might be messy, emotional, unclear. That's okay. Your job is not to organize their thoughts. Your job is to receive them, to listen without interrupting, to allow them to speak without feeling judged or corrected. Because this is the moment they stop pretending. This is the moment they stop filtering. This is the moment they finally let someone see what's really going on inside. And when someone reaches that point with you, you've already done something powerful. You've broken through the surface. You've created trust. And trust is not built through big speeches or perfect advice. It's built in these small, quiet moments where you choose to stay when others would leave. That's the real impact of the 8-minute habit. It's not just about being there. It's about being there when it matters most. And now you begin to realize something most people never understand. This habit is not just changing them. It's changing you. Because the moment you start showing up like this, fully present, patient, intentional, you begin to see people differently. You stop seeing conversations as something to get through and start seeing them as something to step into. You become more aware, more observant. You notice the small things others miss, the forced smiles, the quiet tone shifts, the pauses that say more than words ever could. And suddenly, you're not just reacting to what people say, you're understanding what they feel. That's a different level of connection. But here's the truth. It requires courage. Because when you truly listen, you don't just hear their pain, you feel it. You feel the weight of their words, the emotion behind their voice. And that can be uncomfortable. It can be heavy, which is exactly why most people avoid it. They stay on the surface because it's easier, safer, less demanding. But you're not here to stay on the surface. You're here to make an impact. And impact doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in those moments where you choose to lean in instead of pulling away, where you choose to care a little more than what's convenient, where you choose to give your time, your attention, your energy without expecting anything in return. Because here's what starts to happen when you do this consistently. People begin to trust you, not because you have all the answers, but because you make them feel understood. And that kind of trust is rare. It's not built overnight. It's built through moments, through consistency, through showing up again and again with the same level of presence. And once that trust is there, something powerful happens. People don't just open up to you, they grow around you. They become more honest, more self-aware, more confident in expressing themselves. Because they know they're not going to be dismissed, judged, or rushed. And you become that person in their life, the one they can turn to when things get real. Not because you're perfect, but because you're present. And in a world where everyone is distracted, rushing, and disconnected, well, your presence becomes your power. Your ability to give someone just 8 focused minutes becomes something they will never forget. Because you didn't just hear them, you made them feel like they truly mattered. But here's where this becomes something even bigger than just a conversation, because those 8 minutes don't end when the words stop. They stay. They echo in the mind of the person you gave them to. Long after you've both walked away, long after life continues, long after everything seems normal again, that moment you created stays with them. Because you did something most people never do. You gave them your full attention without trying to take control. And that leaves a mark. Think about it, people forget what you say all the time. They forget advice, suggestions, even entire conversations, but they never forget how you made them feel. And when someone feels truly heard, truly understood, it creates something powerful inside them. It creates relief, it creates clarity, it creates strength. Because for a moment, they were not carrying everything alone. And that changes how they move forward. They start to think differently. They start to handle things differently. They start to believe, even just a little more, that they can get through what they're facing. Not because you solved it for them, but because you stood beside them while they faced it. That's real support. And here's something even more powerful. When you give someone that experience, they begin to pass it on. They start showing up differently for others. They listen more. They become more patient. They begin to create that same space for someone else. And just like that, something small becomes something meaningful. A simple 8-minute habit turns into a ripple effect. One person feels heard, then they make another person feel heard. And it continues. That's how real change happens. Not through big speeches or grand actions, but through small, consistent moments of genuine human connection. And it all starts with a decision to pause, a decision to be present, a decision to care just a little more than what's easy. Because every single day you're given opportunities, small ones, easy to ignore. A message you could respond to, a conversation you could slow down for, a moment where someone is quietly hoping someone will notice, and most people will miss it, but you won't. Because now you understand the power of those 8 minutes. Now you understand that helping someone doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. And presence is a choice you can make every single day. And now here's the part that hits even harder, because while those 8 minutes are powerful for them, they are just as powerful for you. You see, when you truly show up for someone fully and without expectation, something shifts inside you. It's subtle at first, almost invisible, but it changes how you see the world, how you see people, and most importantly, how you see yourself. Because being present teaches patience. It teaches humility. It teaches that your role isn't always to fix, control, or impress. It's to witness, to support, to care. And that realization, it transforms how you interact with everyone around you. You start noticing when someone needs you before they even speak. You start reading the small signs, the quiet tension in their voice, the forced smile, the hesitation in their words. You begin understanding that connection isn't something superficial. It's something deep, intentional, and rare. And here's the truth. This skill, this awareness, this ability to truly connect, it doesn't come naturally to most people. Most people are distracted, busy, consumed by their own lives. Most people skim over emotions, rush through conversations, or avoid discomfort at all costs. But you start doing it differently. You start showing up even when it's inconvenient. You start staying even when it's uncomfortable. You start listening even when you don't have a solution. And that sets you apart. Because over time, you notice something extraordinary. Relationships deepen, trust strengthens. People begin to confide in you not because you're the smartest or the strongest or the most experienced, but because you've proven consistently that you care. And that kind of trust, it's priceless. It's the difference between someone keeping their struggles to themselves and someone finally feeling safe enough to share. Between someone sinking silently under pressure and someone finding clarity, courage, and strength. And the beauty of this habit is that it scales. One person opens up and you change their day. You change their week. You might even change the trajectory of their life. And they, in turn, carry that forward. Because now, they've experienced what it feels like to be truly heard, truly seen, truly valued. That's the ripple effect. That's the real power of 8 minutes. It's not just a conversation. It's not just a gesture. It's a choice to stand beside someone in their humanity. And that choice can transform both of your lives. And once you understand that, you begin to see every single interaction as an opportunity. Every message, every pause, every hesitant word, a chance to change someone's day, their week, even their life. That's the kind of power this habit holds. And it's waiting for you to use it. And now, here's the part that hits even harder, because while those 8 minutes are powerful for them, they're just as powerful for you. You see, when you truly show up for someone, fully and without expectation, something shifts inside you. It's subtle at first, almost invisible, but it changes how you see the world, how you see people, and most importantly, how you see yourself. Because being present teaches patience, it teaches humility. It teaches that your role isn't always to fix, control, or impress. It's to witness, to support, to care. And that realization, it transforms how you interact with everyone around you. You start noticing when someone needs you before they even speak. You start reading the small signs, the quiet tension in their voice, the forced smile, the hesitation in their words. You begin understanding that connection isn't something superficial. It's something deep, intentional, and rare. And here's the truth. This skill, this awareness, this ability to truly connect, it doesn't come naturally to most people. Most people are distracted, busy, consumed by their own lives. Most people skim over emotions, rush through conversations, or avoid discomfort at all costs. But you start doing it differently. You start showing up even when it's inconvenient. You start staying even when it's uncomfortable. You start listening even when you don't have a solution. And that sets you apart. Because over time, you notice something extraordinary. Relationships deepen, trust strengthens. People begin to confide in you not because you're the smartest or the strongest or the most experienced, but because you've proven consistently that you care. And that kind of trust, it's priceless. It's the difference between someone keeping their struggles to themselves and someone finally feeling safe enough to share. Between someone sinking silently under pressure and someone finding clarity, courage, and strength. And the beauty of this habit is that it scales. One person opens up and you change their day. You change their week. You might even change the trajectory of their life. And they in turn carry that forward because now they've experienced what it feels like to be truly heard, truly seen, truly valued. That's the ripple effect. That's the real power of 8 minutes. It's not just a conversation. It's not just a gesture. It's a choice to stand beside someone in their humanity. And that choice can transform both of your lives. And once you understand that, you begin to see every single interaction as an opportunity. Every message, every pause, every hesitant word a chance to change someone's day, their week, even their life. That's the kind of power this habit holds. And it's waiting for you to use it.